Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Crypto My Money Show. My name is Martin, and today I have a special guest on with me. This is my sister, Melissa. Say hi, Melissa.
Hi.
Now, Melissa is my younger sister. She's the youngest of the family, so she's the spoiled child,
Yeah, a little bit.
but she's growing up now. You're 18, almost 19.
Yeah, almost.
So you and I talk quite a bit about life advice, and you're trying to learn from the good and the bad and the ugly that I've experienced being about 9 years older than you, something like that.
Yeah.
So I know that been getting more interested in personal finance and investing, especially since you've seen me and then also our brother Noe get into digital assets and crypto.
Right. Yeah, I've
So
been trying to follow your guys' footsteps. So,
yeah, exactly. So tell us, what goals do you have? Why do you want to do more investing?
well, I have a few goals in mind, but one of them is I want to retire at an early age and I want to be financially stable and have that financial freedom.
And why do you want to have that financial stability and freedom?
Because I feel like I don't want to work that 9 to 5 job and be like a slave just like everyone
Yeah.
else. I just want to like live my life and enjoy it while I can.
Yeah, I think that is how most of us get into investing, whether it be like as a lifestyle or something that we find very interesting, because it's one of those paths where the average person having more than like a higher than average knowledge of investing is able to improve their life. You don't need to get a crazy education or be well connected. If you are willing to put in the time, which is something that we have being young, we have time. So if you're willing to put in the time to study and learn investing, it can be your level up. It can be that elevator that can take you from the 9 to 5 to some position where you can work part-time, or you can be completely financially independent, which means that you can live off of your savings and investments and not have to have a job.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So you had a question for me. What is that question?
Yeah, so my question for you is should I buy Bitcoin?
And why do you want to buy Bitcoin?
Because it's just popping right now and it just seems super interesting. I've been hearing a lot of things about it, so
Yeah.
I'm just
Hey,
wondering if
do your friends ask you? Like, do you like you and your friends talk about Bitcoin?
I've mentioned it to them a few times. They've like asked me about it and I'm not totally educated on it. Like I don't have a lot of knowledge on Bitcoin, so I just want to learn more about it and then I can share it with other people. So,
Huh. Well, that gives me a really good idea. We can create a series where I can teach you about Bitcoin, and you can share these videos with your friends. So that way, when they ask you, you have something you can give them. How does that sound?
yeah. Yeah, that would be really great.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you and I have been talking about Bitcoin for what, 7, 8 months now?
Yeah, about
And I know that you, at the time when you started buying Bitcoin, I believe you were still working at Wendy's, right?
yeah.
Okay, so for everybody out there, this is my sister Melissa, and she bought her first Bitcoin working in fast food job. So if she can do it, anybody else can do it.
Mhm.
It doesn't have
You
to be a lot.
no, it doesn't. You can start whenever.
Yeah, and the advice I gave to you is put in every single paycheck, allot a certain amount of your paycheck, whether it be $50 or $100, and just do that every single paycheck. Just have it in your mind, like as soon as your check hits your account, first thing you do is you open up whatever app you use and buy that Bitcoin.
Yes, and that's what I started to do when I worked at Wendy's.
Yeah. Yep. But now you're asking me, hey, I have a little bit of savings here. What should I do with these savings? Should I buy Bitcoin? And I'd say yes. If you don't need that money immediately for something, then go ahead and just buy it right now. Especially if you, like in your case, you're living from home, so you don't have a rent expense.
Right.
So you probably don't need as much of a cushion. Like you probably don't need as much emergency savings, and
Mm.
you'd be better off taking a good chunk of that money that you have saved and put it into Bitcoin. Even the stock market at this point is probably is better, honestly, because of inflation. Have you heard
Mhm.
of inflation? Have you experienced inflation?
I've heard of inflation, but I'm not quite sure what it is.
Okay, so in a nutshell, it means that the price of everything is going up more than usual because the Federal Reserve is printing more money and is putting more money into the system. And part of that is because of the Congress stimulus policies. It's a long-winded story. This is not exactly how it happens, but essentially, like money was printed because of the stimulus given to people. But the vast majority of money that was printed has actually gone to banks and big businesses. And it's totally not cool. It's totally not fair. That's a whole other conversation we can have at some other point, and I can explain that more. But what that means is that now there's more money flushing, like slushing around. Everybody seems to have money, at least like the, I don't know, top 50%, 60% of the country. Like there's just so much money. So people are buying up more houses, they're buying property and buying cars as well. But at the same time, there's a shortage of cars and houses. So prices are going up. But even in things like food, the prices are going up more than usual. So that's inflation. Now, there's an interest rate that the Federal Reserve sets that is like the baseline that is used to determine the interest rates on like if the bank loans you money to buy a house or buy a car. But that interest rate also influences how much interest you get paid on the money that you have in your savings. You put money in your savings account at the bank and then they pay you. The best banks back in like 2019, they were paying over 2% interest if you had money in the savings account. And now those same banks are paying like half of 1%. So the amount of money you're getting paid on your savings has gone down like 75%, but the inflation is probably like 10 or 15%. So you're making less money having your money in the bank, but at the same time, the cost of living is going up. So essentially, you're losing that purchasing power because even if you still have that money in the bank, it's buying you less and less things every single month that goes by on
Mm.
average. So that's why inflation is a big deal. And this is just like a really watered down explanation. It's much more complicated than this. But what it means is that if you have money in the bank, that purchasing power is getting lost. And you will be able to buy less things in the future, like whether it be next year or 2 years from now. So to counteract that, you want to have your money, that value of your money stored in something that will at least keep up with the inflation. The government says there's like 5% inflation. I think realistically it's probably twice that much, maybe like 10, 12%, because on average, real estate's up 15%. Same with the stock market's up to like 30%. I think those are better indicators of inflation. That's why I'm saying like you want to get into at least the stock market, like an index fund. You can use something like Vanguard. They have a bunch of index funds that like track the market. And it's a really easy way because if the entire market goes up or the sectors that the index fund tracks, then you're riding that wave up and you don't have to worry about picking the right stock. So an index fund is a pretty surefire way of increasing your value. You know, you make more money, but that kind of assumes that the stock market keeps going up. Right now, it is going to continue going up because it's a function of there's so much money being printed that it is helping the stock market go up. Now, me personally, I took a lot of the money that I had in the stock market. I took it out at the beginning of this year and I put it into crypto. I put it primarily into Bitcoin, but then some other apps. But since you're just starting out, I think the best thing you can do is just put it into Bitcoin. It's the safest thing and it's still growing a lot faster than the stock market because the price of Bitcoin is going up. It's basically saying that your purchasing power is increasing over time instead of decreasing. Say you have $2,000. If you buy $2,000 worth of Bitcoin right now, in the future, you will be able to buy more than $2,000 worth of things with that same Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is getting stronger, its value is increasing, whereas the value of the dollar is decreasing because there are more dollars in the system.
Right. Okay.
Right. So that is one thing, just based on the current situation. But also, the price of Bitcoin is really good right now, and I think it's underpriced, especially because it corrected. A lot of people are accumulating right now, and Bitcoin may be one of the solutions to inflation. So a lot more people are going to come into Bitcoin as the inflation situation continues to get worse. So if you get a lower price, then you're going to get in before the majority of people get in, and you're going to have that great growth on your money.
So you're saying that now is like the perfect time to buy Bitcoin then?
Well, yeah, because back in April, May, the price was over 60,000, and now it crashed down. Right now, it's just under 40,000 or around 40,000. We already know that Bitcoin can do 60,000. So right there, there's a potential for 50% growth.
Right, because it's just going to continue to increase.
Yeah, and it's just going to continue to increase. So let me show you a model here. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So this is a model that is very commonly used in the Bitcoin world. It's called stock to flow. So essentially what this means is it's comparing like how much Bitcoin there is in the world to how much new Bitcoin is being created. So through the mining process, new Bitcoin is being created every day. I think right now the rate is like 900 Bitcoin per day. There's new Bitcoin created about every 10 minutes. So there's still new Bitcoin being issued by the system, but ultimately there will only be a maximum of 21 million Bitcoin. And that's it. Once 21 million Bitcoin have been created, have been mined, that's the maximum. That's it. So it's not like the dollars where dollars are being printed and there's no limit. So that's the first thing. Now, so this chart here is exploring that relationship and is basically trying to project like, okay, if there's this many Bitcoin, then what is the price? And it's a projection. This model has been fitted to the data in the past. So like these colorful dots are the price, and then the blue line is what the model says that the price should be according to this projection. All right.
Yes.
So we go to right around here. So this is July 24th, a few days ago, and the price was about 34,000. So the model projects that at this point, Bitcoin should have been 91,000, which probably would have been true because it was at over 60,000 about a couple of months ago. But there were a lot of bad news that brought it down. And I think there was a lot of manipulation by the news media and people that control the news media. And I think that's why the price of Bitcoin fell. So according to this model and other models, Bitcoin is really cheap right now. So that's the first thing, is like Bitcoin is cheap. Okay, let's say you put in $2,000. You just put it all in. What if we fast forward to right here, 4 years from now? The model says Bitcoin should be worth just over $1 million per Bitcoin. Right now we're under 40,000, and 4 years is projecting $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened? Okay, well, you already worked at your hours at Wendy's. You already have this money saved. Now you can buy Bitcoin, forget about it for 4 years. You're going to wake up and let's say you put in $2,000. Those $2,000 all of a sudden becomes $50,000. And in 4 years, you will have just graduated college and you might have student debt. At that point, you could sell your Bitcoin and probably pay off a good chunk of your student debt or all of it. And you did nothing extra. You already worked for this money. The only thing you need to do is buy Bitcoin and let it sit.
It's all about being patient with Bitcoin.
Exactly. And if you don't want to sell your Bitcoin in a few years to pay off student debt, you can take a loan out against your Bitcoin. There are apps that let you do that. Like you can borrow money against your Bitcoin, and then when you pay the money back, you'll get your Bitcoin back.
Wow, I did not know that you could do that.
Yeah. So it opens so many possibilities. All it takes is if you have $500, $1,000, $2,000 that you can put in right now, you're going to see probably 25x growth or more on that money.
Right.
By doing nothing extra except investing it and letting it sit. You don't need to day trade it. Don't touch it. Don't even look at the price. Just forget about it for a few years. It's going to do it by itself.
It's going to work for you.
Yeah, exactly. This is where money starts working for you. So at this point, my recommendation is yes. If you want to put that money in and you don't need it and you need a future, just go ahead and put it in. And as you continue working, every single time you get paid, continue to put in money. So imagine, if you put in a few $1,000s to begin with, but then every single paycheck you still put in 50, 100, $200, then you'll have, according to this model, well over 50,000. You might be at like 70 or $80,000.
And all of that just started with a few $1,000s.
Yeah. So it doesn't take a lot to get started in investing. The most important thing, and something that I wish I would have known when I was your age, is the most important thing is to start and keep with it. Start investing, even if you can only afford $50 per paycheck. That is something. And anybody can do $50 per paycheck. That's $50 is like eating out 4 times. If you eat out once a week, just don't eat out. Stay home and watch a movie on YouTube. And all of a sudden, it's like you found $50 right there. You put that $50 in every single paycheck. What people miss is the compounding effect, but then also exponential growth. So even though you're putting in $50 or $100 per paycheck right now, that's going to turn into thousands of dollars very quick. And I'm talking like 5 to 10 years. You already saw with this model here what can happen to $2,000. Yes, your age, I wish I would have known. Hey, just get started. I actually bought some stocks at your age. I was like 17 or 18. But the thing is that I didn't stick with it. And then a few years later, I discovered Bitcoin. I set up the mining software on my computer and let it run for a few days. And I was like, whatever. And I left it. If I would have bought $100 of Bitcoin, wow. Let me show you what that would look like. Learn from my mistakes, guys.
And how long ago was this?
2013, 8 years ago. 8 years ago, I knew about Bitcoin. I played with Bitcoin software, but I did not do any more research. Same thing happened with stocks at 17 or 18. Now, if I would have even invested $20 per check ever since I was 18, now that I'm at 28, I would at least have $1,000 or $100,000 net worth off of that alone. But the thing is, if you don't start at this age, or for people that are older, if you didn't start at 18, like just start wherever you're at. I started like getting serious about this just before I turned 25 is when I got back into it. And this time I stuck with it and I did more research and did more research.
Right. It's never too late.
Exactly. But it really, if you're 18, 17, please just start now. When you're my age, you're going to be very grateful. I think the biggest reason why I didn't stick with it is because I had this misguided belief that if I didn't have a lot of money, it wasn't worth it. Like in my mind, I was mentally waiting till I made more money to start investing. But that's a mistake. With whatever you have, start there because everything scales up. Like if you're making $2,000 per month, and you can only invest $50 per month. Well, in a few years, your net worth based off your investments will be pretty high relative to your salary. And then you get a better job and then you invest more money. So like your investments grow with your income. And then you'll get to a point where you like your wish, which is to be financially independent. So let's look at a Bitcoin calculator. All right. $100. This was in 2013. And of course, this is there we go. I thought it was going to make me go month per month. 13. Yeah, let's just say July 2013. Look, $100 would now be $43,500. If I would have bought just $100 of Bitcoin when I first heard of it.
And imagine if you had more.
Imagine I could have afforded. I'm sure I don't know about $1,000. I could have afforded $500. Oh no. I was looking at the return. Ha 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 ha. All right, so let's do this again. But yeah, $100 would have turned into $43,600. Now I'm sure I could have afforded $500. $218,000. I'd be a quarter of a way to millionaire with $500 of Bitcoin in 2013 when I first heard of Bitcoin. And this is why it's so important that you start early. So isn't it crazy what $500 of Bitcoin in 2013 would now become?
Yeah, it's insane. Who would have thought at that time?
Okay, so check this out. $218,000, but that's right now. We think it's going to 25x in 4 years. $5.45 million.
Wow.
My personal baseline for financial independence is $2 million. With $2 million, I know that I can not work another day in my life. This would put me at more than double that. Now, what's freaking crazy is I was this was I think I was like a sophomore in college when I discovered Bitcoin. I could have bought $500 of Bitcoin. I could have gone to college, and then I could have like literally failed every single job after that and waited 12 years and retired multimillionaire.
That's crazy.
If I would have known at that time that Bitcoin would do this, I literally could have dropped out of college, just worked some lame job for 12 years, and then at one point just be like, okay, I quit. And this is why I say right now is the perfect time. We have the projection of where Bitcoin is going. It's not a guarantee that it will, but I think it is. I'm putting a lot of money into Bitcoin. I already have a lot of money in Bitcoin, but I continue to put more money into Bitcoin because I think this is where it's going. So this is why I'm telling you, go ahead and just do it. You right now you're in this place where you could take advantage of most of that I just described to you that I did not take advantage of because I didn't have the knowledge. You could put in whatever money you have right now, let it sit for 10 years, and you'll have a few $100,000 at least. And if you let it sit for another few more years, you'll be a millionaire as well.
Right. And then gain that financial freedom and independence
Yep.
that we were talking
Exactly.
about.
Exactly. So you're at a place where if you put in a few $1,000s right now and you continue to buy every single paycheck, by age 30, you will retire. If Bitcoin and the digital assets do what the model is saying, you could very realistically retire by age 30.
Wow.
I know that I threw a lot at you. What do you think?
I think that I'm heading towards the right way. I think it's a really good decision to just start putting in money into Bitcoin because maybe now you won't see really anything happening, but you just have to be patient. In a few years, that's going to double and it's just going to increase and you'll reach your goals, whether it's retiring or just having lots of money or just that financial freedom that you would like.
Yep. So I like to travel, and I wish I would have traveled more when I was in my early 20s, but I didn't because I was working a lot. But with something like this, a plan like this, if you put in a few $1,000s now, you can go to college if you want to, finish out your college in your case. And after that, you could say, you know what, I'm just going to take a year off and just backpack and work odd jobs as I go. And you could like enjoy your 20s and do all sorts of great stuff and then at age 30, be like, oh, yeah, I've got a couple million worth of Bitcoin. I'm good.
Yeah, and that's something that I would like to do. So
Yeah.
I'm just going
And
to continue.
that is good for your mental health as well, because you can do things that you enjoy. And through doing things that you enjoy, you'll probably find your calling, whether it is what you're going to school for or something else. And you don't have to really stress out about all the things that you want to do in the future. If you want to buy a house, or if you want to live abroad, if you want to travel more, whatever it is, you can just enjoy yourself knowing that your money is working for you and can just continue to put in ideally 10% at least of what you make. But if it's just $50 and it's just $50, but just be disciplined about that. And so yeah, financial independence is not that far away. It comes at you real quick. In the first few years, you won't notice it, but then it'll get really fast because of the compounding and appreciation. And you have to be patient and let time do its thing.
Right. Yeah. Bitcoin is the way out.
Yeah, it is. It's been described as a life raft.
A life raft.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see how it is.
Yeah. Well, I really enjoyed talking with you. And yeah, thank you for agreeing to get on camera and allow me to partake some of my wisdom. And also, I'm glad that you're willing to accept some of the experience that I've learned through the School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah, yes, thank you for teaching me this. I know it's going to impact my life a lot, and I'm ready for it. I'm ready for what life has to bring.
I love it. I love it. Think like an investor.
Oh yeah.
All right, everyone.
All right.
Well, that was our episode. Thanks again, Melissa, for being on. And to everyone, please like if you enjoyed this video. It obviously helps Crypto My Money get discovered so more people can learn about this. And so we can continue to bring this information to you guys. And leave a comment if you guys have any questions on what we talked about today or topics that you'd like me to touch on in the future. And with that, see ya.
Thank you. Bye.